The devil doesn't need you to become evil. He doesn't need to turn your life upside down. He just needs you to stay spiritually numb, distracted, quietly disconnected, numb enough to stop noticing how far your soul has drifted, distracted enough to stop hearing that still small voice calling you home, disconnected enough that even when you're surrounded by people, you still feel spiritually alone. See, spiritual warfare today rarely comes as fire and thunder. It comes as 5 more minutes on your phone, 1 more day without prayer, 1 more smile that says, "I'm fine," when you're really not. And slowly, quietly, invisibly, you begin to drift. You don't fall off a cliff. You fall asleep. That's how the enemy wins. Not with big sins, but with small habits. That's why today we're going to expose 5 of the devil's favorite strategies. And they're not what you think. They're not rebellion. They're routine. But they have the power to keep you spiritually stuck. If you let them. We often think temptation looks like fire, like a dramatic choice between right and wrong. But in reality, it looks like comfort, numbness, familiarity. It looks like the path of least resistance. Because the enemy doesn't attack you where you're strongest. He waits for you to get tired, overwhelmed, lonely. And then he doesn't say, "Rebel." He whispers, "Rest a little longer." He doesn't say, "Curse God." He says, "God's probably too busy." His greatest strategy? Not to destroy you, but to distract you long enough that you stop noticing you're no longer walking with God. You're just standing still. So let's name the 5 habits he uses most. The ones that feel harmless, even productive, but in reality, they're keeping your spirit asleep. 1 Peter 5 verse 8 says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." The devil isn't attacking your body. He's after your attention, your patterns, your rhythms. He wants to shape how you use your time, how you talk to yourself, how you relate to others. And the scary part? He doesn't even have to lie. He just has to twist the truth enough that it still sounds like you. But it's no longer from God. Let's look at the 5 habits that open that door. 5 habits the devil loves you to keep. Habit number 1. Scrolling without purpose. It doesn't feel evil. It doesn't feel spiritual either. But 5 minutes turns into 50. You pick up your phone to check something. And suddenly your soul is filled with comparison, anxiety, desire, distraction. You close the app, but you feel further from God than when you started. And the worst part? You don't even notice the shift. That's how dangerous it is. It doesn't feel like sin, but it steals your attention from the only one who can anchor your soul. Habit number 2. Avoiding silence. You always have something playing. Music, YouTube, podcasts, even worship songs. Anything except silence. Why? Because you're afraid of what God might say. Or maybe you're afraid he won't say anything. So you fill the silence. But God speaks in the stillness. Elijah didn't find him in the fire or the wind, but in the whisper. And if your life is too loud, you'll miss it. Habit number 3. Saying, "I'm fine," when you're not. This isn't just about lying to people. It's about lying to yourself. Hiding behind, "I'm okay," because you don't want to feel weak. But weakness isn't failure. It's the place where grace meets you. The devil wants you isolated, because unspoken pain becomes a doorway for deeper lies. You don't have to tell everyone everything, but you have to be honest with someone, especially with God. Habit number 4. Treating church like a checkbox. You show up, you sing, you smile, you leave, but your heart is miles away. You think attendance equals intimacy, but it doesn't. The devil doesn't mind if you go to church. He just wants to make sure you never meet God there. So you show up out of habit, but never let him in. And slowly, the fire dies, while the motions continue. Habit number 5. Believing grace is only for when you're doing well. This is perhaps the most dangerous one. You think grace is for the days when you feel spiritual, when you're praying, reading, resisting temptation. But when you fall, you withdraw, you feel unworthy, and so you stay distant, trying to get back on track before you return. But grace isn't the reward for performance. It's the invitation in your failure. Jesus doesn't say, come to me once you're better. He says, come to me all who are weary, right now, as you are. So, which one hit you hardest? Be honest. This isn't about shame. This is about awareness, confession. God already sees it. He's not surprised. He's not disappointed. He's inviting you to notice what's been numbing your soul, so he can awaken it again. Which habit have you called normal? That's actually been spiritual quicksand. Name it. Bring it to him. You're not being exposed to be punished. You're being invited to be free. Now take a step. Not a giant leap. Just one step. Replace one scroll session with a psalm. Replace one autoplay video with 5 minutes of silence. Replace one, I'm fine with actually, I'm struggling. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You just need to invite Jesus into the space you've been keeping from him. That's where freedom begins. The devil doesn't fear perfect people. He fears people who show up broken but honest, tired but seeking, weary but still whispering, Jesus, I need you. So wake up, not to pressure, but to presence. Grace is not behind you, it's beside you, and you don't need to run to find him. You just need to turn.